Hi, my name's Tracy. I'm going to share with you my healing story and everything about it from when I can remember to where I'm right now, kind of following a timeline. And I'm going to say all the things that I needed to hear, and hopefully that will help you. I am talking about healing in terms of health, in terms of many chronic illnesses, personality disorders, mental and emotional health issues, challenges, or diagnoses. I am a nurse, so I have a little bit of a medical or like a biomedical twist to my story. But I think what makes it a little different is that I don't really follow this traditional model in terms of recovery. I see it from through a more soulful or spiritual lens, and I'm hoping to integrate more of the emotional aspect kind of back to medicine, or toward medicine, I should say. Throughout many years, I had struggled with generalized anxiety disorder, like really bad anxiety. I always was anxious, and anxiety was like a sort of a normal thing. I was just always very nervous, very hard on myself, very self-critical, very push myself, what's the next thing, never taking a break really, and just kind of running on adrenaline. Of course, when I was younger, I didn't really know that. I thought that was just a normal way to be. I was just driven so much by fear that I just thought that that was just a part of life. I was very much stuck in like this survival mode of fight and flight all the time. And when I was young, I was very athletic, so I had a lot of outlet to let out my anger, to let out just that extra energy that I was always constantly in. And I didn't even know that I really had issues until when high school ended, and that's when the body starts catching up with you. When I bumped into a high school teacher, she had mentioned to me, I was telling her I was on a healing journey, and she was telling me, I started noticing that you had some issues in high school, just because I was just extremely hard on myself. I always had straight A's for the most part, and I would beat myself up if I only got 85 on an essay or something, because marks, achievements, and grades were really, really valued in my household. And for me at the time, it's like you do it or you're never good enough. But I never thought that was like a concept that was wrong. I just thought, that's the way I'm supposed to live, is that I need to get really good grades, and I need to be a candidate for maybe medical school or pharmacy or whatever. But then I ended up in nursing because it gave me kind of a bachelor degree to work with that was practical and logical. And if I wanted to do something else after, at least I had some sort of useful degree. So that's sort of like my background. I was talking to a person who is struggling very much with candida and just all these crazy health issues. And we related on the fact that we grew up in very, I'm gonna say, very like, we both said this. We said, my parents are great, and her parents are great. Everyone's parents are great. They try their best, but it was just constant yelling, constant just fighting, constant stress, constant whatever, for whatever reason. I know for me, my parents, they were refugees and they are immigrants. So it was very stressful. It was just very stressful coming to a new country. It's very stressful assimilating, not knowing like so many things, not having family support, very stressful financially, just super stressful. And I know that, I'm not the only one, many people can relate. And that stress kind of, when you're very sensitive, and depending on your DNA makeup, your personality, your, I don't know, destiny, whatever you want to call it, you've absorbed all those things. And that's what happens. And they call us, there's a term, empaths. So as an empath, you're just a feeling machine, and you don't really know it, but you just like, you're just a sponge, and you're like an emotional lint ball, always like collecting emotions around you, and you're just sponging it, and you don't know anything that's actually happening on a feeling level, because you haven't been given the proper permission and the mirror neurons from your parents, the modeling to say that, okay, it's healthy to cry, it's okay to feel pain. Like, I think a lot of people don't have that proper emotion regulation piece from very early on. I knew for me that's very true, and for a lot of people, especially old school parents, where emotions aren't talked about, emotions are shamed, and it's just not my parents, it's pretty much like all of older generations. I'm not saying everybody, I don't want to generalize it here, but it's definitely like this huge thing where it's just not honored at all. And if you cried, or if you did do something bad, or if you get angry, you can't even feel anger. So like, you want to think of all these negative emotions as energy that has to be cycled through, that has to be processed, that has to be released. It's a cycle. But we don't actually go through the motion or cycle or process anything if we're told that it's not safe to feel what you feel. And that's the big thing. It's not safe to feel what you feel. And basically that means it's not safe to be you. So if you're a very emotional person, a very creative person, which I never actually knew that I was creative. I didn't even take that into consideration when I was younger. I knew that I was sensitive during high school, but I never actually thought that there was something different about that. I just thought, oh my God, I'm so sensitive. I'm sensitive from head to toe. I'm sensitive inside out. But I never considered myself a creative person. I never considered myself a creative child. A big topic of mine is candida, is leaky gut, is because a lot of us grew up like that, where emotions are not honored, emotions are not safe, and there was a lot of just yelling, constant yelling every day, a lot of feeling unsafe as a child, and just a lot of chaos in the environment growing up for whatever reason. And it's true, like other people that I know with candida or leaky gut, or that have struggled with that, they grew up in some sort of, and I'm gonna use this term very loosely here, abusive environment. And abusive could just mean you were neglected emotionally as a child, which I think that's the human race. Or, maybe you got spanked, which is a really old school thing, or other forms of abuse. And it just means hurt, some sort of emotional or physical pain, which all of us have experienced. And some of us who are more sensitive in nature or emotional in nature, we will have our boundaries broken, and then we feel completely unsafe, and then we have this root, this attachment style that is unsafe. It's called insecure attachment trauma. And healing from insecure attachment trauma is a lot of healing work. Because if you think about, your upbringing is your foundation. And if you grew up with an insecure attachment trauma, the way you attach emotionally with your parent or parents, that's the foundation you are kind of growing up with. And that's gonna feel like, it's gonna feel like everything's built on quicksand. And that's exactly what happened to me. I was just kind of going through the motion of doing what I needed to do, going to school, like getting to the next thing, and then boom, one day your house just falls down because you never had something super super solid to work with. So you're always trying to overcompensate by having building certain walls or getting the right furniture, or for us it's, I guess, in this achievement world, it's you gotta achieve a certain thing, or I don't know, get ahead in a certain way, look a certain way to feel valued, to feel worthy, to feel secure and solid. We're actually just running around searching for our own worthiness and security, really. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's very human, and it's just a part of going through this, I guess, human experience. So that's what happened. That's sort of the questions you start to ask yourself if you are struggling with health issues. And the reason why I feel it's important to share this is because of exactly when I experienced candida and leaky gut and eczema and an irritable bowel. It sort of happened as my awareness I've always been a very introspective, or kind of spend some time, I'm an extroverted person, but at the same time I'm very introverted. And you also need to ask yourself are you introverted or extroverted? Because if you have this introverted nature to some degree, then, or self-reflective, then you can see that this healing work is going to serve you.